So now that the Wheel of Time series has been greenlit, I thought now would be a great time to reread all of the books, or as many as I can before it comes out. I should be able to do that if it comes out within the next 2 years. I'm sure I can. So a while back I did start rereading it, and I got through The Eye of the World, and I was going to post a review of that, but didn't. But I read The Great Hunt, and I thought I'd post a review of that. Now, The Great Hunt, I remember reading for the first time in less than a week. I could not put it down. But looking back on it afterwards, I was wondering, it just felt like filler. I didn't see it as anything more than that. They had to get the horn, which they already had at the beginning, and they had at the end. That was it. That's what it seemed like to me. But rereading it, I can see it was necessary. Now, I might have to, make a spoiler warning right now. I am going to spoil the book. So this is kind of like a retrospective, I suppose. So if you haven't read the book, go read it. Very good. I would recommend reading Eye of the World first, though. At the beginning of the book, Rand, our main character, is told that he is the Dragon Reborn. And he doesn't believe that. He doesn't think it's true. Thinks the Aes Sedai are lying, even though they can't lie. So the whole book is about him basically dealing with the fact that he can now channel, and that he is destined to go mad. But it's more than that. It's also Rand trying to become a leader. He doesn't want to be, but he's forced into it, especially when he goes into this other world. It's just Loyal and Hurin for company. Loyal being a friend, he's just a friend tagging along, but Hurin sees him as a leader, a lord, even though Rand repeatedly tells him that he is not a lord. So I think that's quite an interesting way to get into how Rand becomes a leader, by just starting him off with being the leader of just one person. And I like that. Looking back on it, after having finished the entire series, I think it makes sense. Because he was reluctant to be a leader. He didn't want it, he didn't seek it out, it just happened to him. And being the leader of one person is a lot easier than being the leader of, hundreds of thousands, which he ends up being. And I think it's a good way to ease him into the role, ease us into the role, and basically see how, give him a taste for it before he needs to make even more monumental decisions. So I think that is great for character building. If nothing else, I think The Great Hunt is essential for the building of characters, specifically Rand and Egwene. The others, not so much. I mean, Perrin hardly has any storyline in it. Matt is pretty much in the same position he was at the beginning of the book. And I suppose Nynaeve has a bit of character building there as well, as she learns to become a bit more of a leader, that she, more of a respected leader that she wasn't so much in the Two Rivers. So I think she has a bit of a story there, but overall it is Rand and Egwene really more than anything else. And so I suppose a better touch on Egwene's storyline. There's not much of it at the beginning, but towards the end when she gets captured by the Seanchan, it is it definitely builds on her character, and definitely turns her into what she becomes later on. Just like Rand, I mean, if you can give the main story, two main opposing characters, it is Rand and Egwene. I don't know whether you necessarily call them opposing. They do oppose each other on many an occasion, but considering they do both become leaders of their respective groups, which are essentially opposing but working together. That whole power dynamic is interesting. That's one of the reasons I like about the series, is the power is, the magic system is opposing yet complementary, and I think that works well with, you know, having Rand and Egwene as these two opposing forces, complementary forces as well. So I think that works very well together, and this book kind of sets them on their path, and I think that's great. And again, I did read it very, very fast. I was glued to it. When I first read it, it felt like they were in certain places for what felt to me like a long time. The time that Rand, Huan and Loyal and Selene at the end were in the alternate universe seemed to me to go on for like half of the book, but no, it was only a few chapters. So I think that what it was Robert Jordan just crammed a lot of story into this book, and it did go on at a breakneck pace. The pacing of the book was amazing. You know, even though there was a lot of time when, you know, the characters were literally just travelling, not doing much at all, it still felt fast-paced, because there was a lot going on, and you wanted to know what was going on with other characters as well. And then the ending. Oh, I loved the ending. Again, first time I read it, when Matt blows the horn, it was almost like it. In retrospective, it felt like he just picked it up and blew it, and that was it. But no, rereading it again, it changes it, because I knew what was going to happen, and so I think what it allowed me to do was concentrate on that moment, and it seemed a monumental decision for Matt to blow the horn. You know, you had, you know, Rand, Matt and Perrin all looking at the horn, just thinking, what can they do to get the Seanchan out of the continent? And that was the only way. And they came to the decision that yes, it needs to be present at the last battle, but nowhere does it say that it can't be used before then. Then you have the charge with the three Tavuran, with the heroes of the past just in a charge, and, you know, charging down to get to the Seanchan invaders, and that was just amazing scene, and I honestly cannot wait for that to be shown on film, on the series. Should be great. And then Rand goes, for some inexplicable reason, which I don't think is ever really explained, but I think it's great even if they don't explain it. He ends up fighting Baalzamon in the sky, and it's just epic. It feels like a beginning, not an ending, and I think that's the same with a lot of the Wheel of Time books. The ending just feels like, right, something's now begun, and I like it. I like that. Even the ending of A Memory of Light feels like it's just a beginning, which echoes the start of every book. It is not the beginning, it is a beginning. And that's the same with, you know, the endings of the books as well. But I think more than anything else, the end of the Grey Town marks the beginning. It marks when Rand truly believes that he is the Dragon Reborn, where he's announced to the world as the Dragon Reborn, and now he can no longer keep it a secret. And yeah, I love that about it. It's, again, the word has been overused, but I think it's just so epic. No, it's not epic, but it feels it. It is just, in the grand scheme of things, it is a small skirmish. He's not even fighting Baalzamon, he's fighting a Shamael. So, yeah. But it feels epic, because I think at the end, there's this major decision. Rand has accepted that he is the Dragon Reborn. and yeah, I like that about it. So yeah, great hunt. I loved it, and I read it in less than a week, like I did the very first time I read it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just taking a break between each of the books and reading something else. So at the moment I'm reading Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, because I've been meaning to read some of his actual original works rather than the Wheel of Time series. So I will finish that, nearly finished that now, and then I'll be on to the Dragon Reborn, and I'll give you a review of that. Okay, bye bye.